Well, after making the signal generator check here video last night, I decided to look into the situation as to why I've got some distortion on the waveform of my function generator. Now, if you look up there to the right of the power supply, there's two units sitting up there that are below the air conditioner. There are two function generators. This one I got for $20 on eBay a couple years ago. I got two of them. One of them I gave to my buddy Mike, and he offered to calibrate this one because this had a distorted waveform on it. Sine wave was more of a sawtooth, and basically the waveforms are pretty useless. And he made some adjustments in here, and this is now perfect. Okay, this goes up to 1 megacycle. This is a Simpson 420, and I was able to, a couple years ago, get a service manual on this from Simpson. It's not available, at least wise as far as I know. I haven't tried recently anywhere else, and they gave me a service manual printed out in loose pages. It's quite big. Okay, so this is working good. This one here is a B&K Precision 3011B. This one I got last year, about a year ago, maybe a little more, for $30 on eBay, and it goes up to 2 megacycles and has a frequency counter in it, and that's why I wanted it. Okay, I like using these. These make good audio generators, but for 455 kc you can use them, but the problem is they put out a very high output, and there wouldn't be no good for aligning radios. You'd have to attenuate this down, and as low as you turn this output control here, let's see, no, output is on this one. This is the output control on this one. You'd have to turn this one all the way down, and it still puts out too much. And this is the output control for this one. If you put this all the way down, it still puts out too much. So that's why you use a something like this if you want to adjust 455 kc, 600 kc, 1500 kc to adjust the make the adjustments in your AM radio. That's fine, because this puts out in millivolts. These are not designed for that. But anyways, I wanted them for audio generator rather than to go buy an audio generator. That's what I did, and they seem to be cheaper, at least wise at the time I got these. But anyways, the point is, this one's putting out, it's approximately 600 kc. This is set for 600 kc. This is putting out a perfect 600 kc waveform. This is not. Right now I've got the connector right down to my other frequency counter here of my Fluke 605.2 kc. Okay, I'm going to put this signal into the scope. We're going to connect the B&C cable, which is a good B&C cable. So this is a good cable. Let me get you in closer. See this distortion here? Alright. Now that's not the scope. It's not the cable. Now bring it up on the other scope. Alright, this is on the Tektronix 2236. Here is your distortion. Alright. Here is your sawtooth. Here is your distortion. As you can see, both scopes show the same thing. I will now go to the other generator. Hang on. Alright, we're going to move it off and put it up to this one. Alright, you can see that looks good on the sawtooth. Okay, this is the sine wave output of the Simpson 420, which Mike went over because this had a bad waveform output. This is the output of the Simpson 420. So the question is, what can it be? That is the question. If it was a vacuum tube signal generator, I would tackle it. But these are all solid state, and there's probably 100 adjustments inside of it. I will not attempt that. I could ask my buddy Mike. I'll turn this down so we don't burn the screen here. You always keep your scope down. Never leave it up like that. You will burn your screen left on too long. So, what I will do now on this video is I will pull this thing down, put it on the bench, and give a look inside. It could be a filter capacitor in the main power supply, and if that's the case, that may be an easy fix for this distortion. But with my luck, it probably isn't. So let's do that now. Let's pull that down and put it on a bench. It looks to me like there are 4 screws in the bottom. Apparently they're Phillips. You just got to get the right size Phillips. Maybe they're not Phillips. Oh yeah, okay. They are. I never opened this before, and I don't like working on solid state stuff, but if it's a electrolytic on the board where I can get at it, I'm pretty sure I've got something that'll work. I'll change it, but only if I can get at it and there's a lot of space where I can solder without bridging over anything. I'm hoping that it's the power supply electrolytic. If not, I have no idea what it would be, and I would have to bring it to somebody to work on it. Sometimes these screws have to turn forever in order to release them. Oh yeah, nice and long. Nice and long. And there's I don't even know if I'm in camera. I cannot see the viewfinder in this camera. There's like a foil here. All right, let me just put this off to the side. Okay. Well, I do see 2 electrolytics here. And one here. They're not bulged. I don't think I'd want to take that board out. It's all separate here. I'm not daring like a lot of guys I see and subscribe to that pull these things apart. I won't do that. These electrolytics do not look bulged. So I'm going to say they're okay. Now, I can put my ESR meter, I got the blue ESR meter, I can put it on there, but you see there's a lot of adjustments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a lot of adjustments in there. I don't know. I'm timid. I am intimidated. I'm getting like Doug. I can't even talk. Intimidated. Can't even talk today. By looking at stuff like this and trying to take it apart, I just can't do it. I just won't risk it. See, this is separate. But actually, no, it's part of the board. I'm sorry, guys. I'm afraid to mess with this. I really am. Because it's one of these things, everything pops out. Even the handle might pop out and I might not get it back in again. I'll probably have to talk to Mike and see if he could do that. But these, I'm going to say the filters are okay because they're not bulged. If they were bulged, I would probably risk it. But I'm not going to do that because I know what's going to happen. I replace the electrolytics and I'll still get the distorted waveform. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it on the scope. I'm going to put you back on the tripod and I'm going to put it on the scope. And I'm going to poke around here and move things around and see if the distortion goes away. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug in computer power cord. Takes a standard computer power cord. Okay, it's upside down. It got moved a little bit. 634 kilocycles. Alright, now let me get my scope connected up. Alright. I'll get you over here. Sorry about the camera movement. I'm just not set up in the shop to do proper videos. So we got the cable in to the output. We're getting that same distortion. So we're going to take our insulated ballpoint pen here. And I'm going to look on the scope. I'm watching the scope. Nothing. 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 I'm not going to turn these, that's for sure. This thing is very accurate, but it just gives that distorted waveform. I'm hoping it's something loose, but it never is. Nothing. No changes on the scope whatsoever. And a couple little electrolytics here. I won't attempt this. And this is a lot bigger than the transistor radio. This waveform always was like this when I got this thing. It didn't just happen. That's probably why I got it cheap. I think it was like $30 with the shipping. The Simpson was $20. I offered to sell it $20 because he didn't know if it worked or not. But this one here claimed it worked, and it did. I mean, he didn't lie about that. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. Nothing changes there. Nothing changes there. Nothing changes there. Nope. No, nothing at all. It's rock solid. All right. Let's see. Let's see if we can get in there. Nothing. Nothing. All right. Nothing. No changes. All right. Okay, so we still got the same distorted waveform. Oh, might as well shut this scope off. And shut the frequency counter off. We'll leave this scope on. Turn the brightness down just a little bit here. Alright, well that's the story of my life anyways. When it comes to solid state stuff, if I can't see anything obviously loose, like if one of these capacitors were loose or something, bad solder joint, yeah, then I might try to get this out of the case, but I'll probably end up messing up these boards here, which are plugged in, but it's too congested. I just can't work with this stuff. If everything was on one board and it all came out in one piece without having this separate here, I would probably try it. But there's nothing I can do anyways in this. There's no point in replacing these capacitors because it won't. That's probably not what the problem is. I may speak to my buddy Mike about it. It's not a priority. So it's got a distorted waveform, so what? You know, it still functions. It's not a clean sine wave. But here we go with another tinkering and entertaining video But as far as finding the problem, solid state stuff, I'm a failure at it. Okay, I got it back together again without breaking it. How about that? So, at least I didn't break it, because most of the time I usually screw up something, I can't get the case back on, or something's out of line, or something like that. But this time I got it back. Had I tried to pull this whole thing apart, I can guarantee you when I got done with it, it will not work at all. So, yes, we got a distorted waveform. We're going to live with it. And I will speak to my buddy Mike. Ask him if he'll would look at it like he did with this one here. He straightened this one out. I don't know exactly what he did, but he calibrated it. And he's also the fellow that calibrated this scope here a couple of years ago. And he said it was out quite a bit. Mike also owned this scope and had calibrated it, as I recall. If not, it was in calibration when he gave it to me, and he gave it to me because it's missing the volts per division skirts that go on the back of the A and B channels here on the volts per division knobs. So we know the scopes are all right. I even put the waveform to the 20 megahertz scope B&K up there that I've got, and I got exactly the same waveform. So I plainly showed that this one puts out a clean sine wave and a clean sawtooth, whereas this one doesn't. But, you know, when you buy a used piece of equipment on eBay, you know, there's a reason why people are selling this stuff. If the thing is working good, he wouldn't get rid of it. All right, I'm going to end this video now. I want to thank you. We'll turn this off here. I want to thank you for watching. And that's it. That's all she wrote.